Hey everybody, this is Daryl. I'm sitting on the back porch of my Uncle Ronald's house. We just had a funeral for his father who was 96 years old. And it's interesting that this funeral, this memorial service would be today on day number 7, episode 7, where I was going to talk about purpose. And sitting in that funeral today, that memorial service, listening to the legacy of my family, knowing where it started, and I thought about, man, purpose and legacy. So I decided to append it and call today's Purpose and Legacy. First off, I want to say thank you everybody for sharing. I appreciate your shares and your likes. I hear you. We've got lots of ideas coming down the pike. I've also created a YouTube channel that has all these videos on it, so if you want to go watch them, they're in order, so you don't have to search around on the page. If you want to go back and review some things or see some things or even offer me comments and ideas, I'm listening to you. So today I want to talk about your purpose and your legacy. Obviously, if you're a parent, your purpose is to be an amazing parent. If you're married, your purpose is to be an amazing husband, a father and provider for your household. But also your purpose is to know who you are and to know where your strengths are, to know where you're going and not just meandering through life. There's a wonderful old gentleman. He's deceased now. His name is Earl Nightingale. He's got a series that he has that he did in the 50s. But the very first thing of it was called The Strangest Secret. If you ever want to help yourself, go watch that. Because it's really interesting to hear a guy from 1956 talk about purpose and goals in The Strangest Secret. I'll just put a link down at the bottom so you can actually go there. Everybody in the world has posted some version of it on YouTube, so you can watch it there. But the first thing I want to ask you is, in figuring out your purpose, what drives you? What makes you say, man, I wish I could do that, or I want to do this with my life, or I wish I could do that with the time that I'm around. I want to try that. I want to be good at that. And what are your skill sets? Know what your skill sets are. I would say, take a piece of paper, put a line down the middle, and on the other side one side say your positives, and the other side say your negatives. Write down all your positives, all your positive attributes, like I'm a giver, I'm a hard worker, blah, 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 whatever it is that's yours. And also go and look at your negatives, because you need to know where your deficits are. You got to know if I put things off, or if I'm, I'm lazy, or I go with my emotions too much. You got to look at that, because those things go on your list of things to be challenged by and to change by changing your thinking. So know what your skill sets are, know what your positives and your negatives are. It's very important for your future, because if you don't know them, they'll trip you up. And I can speak, that's not fun when your negatives trip you up because you haven't looked to see what they are. The other thing, what are your dreams? What's that big, huge dream that you say, oh, I can never do that? Because let me tell you something. If your dream isn't big enough to scare you, it's not big enough. So make it bigger. Look and figure out who you are and what you want to do, and look at it. Look at it without fear. Look at it without limits. Write it all down. Expand the borders as wide as you can. Make it crazy. Because when you start thinking from that crazy place, it opens your minds opens your mind to things you're not thinking about right now. Here's the other thing. What's your education? Sometimes your education may not be in the thing that really drives you. And there are tons of people that are working in jobs that they don't even like. And they're sitting there thinking about, I'm going to spend my whole life doing that. You don't have to. Do you have an education? If you didn't go to college, don't look down on yourself. I went to college for 2.5 years, and guess what? I'm not doing anything I did in college. I went to college for architecture and engineering, and then I went through a technical school and got the whole degree in drafting. I use those skills now, but that's not how I earn my money. I ended up doing what I do. I make music. I'm a content creator. I'm a producer. I make stuff happen. I dream stuff up that didn't exist and then put my hand to it and stay with it until it happens. Okay, so look at that. Whether you have a degree or not, that doesn't matter. Don't let anybody judge you by a piece of paper. You are you. You are uniquely talented. Only you has this fingerprint that's yours. It will never match anyone else's in the world. And multiply it times 10 fingers. No matches. How miraculous is that? How awesome is God? And he just did that in his spare time. So the other thing, I'll tell you something, a story I've just recently was reminded with my dad. He went through college because at the time he went through college, the United States was really trying to turn out engineers because they were really doing a lot of work in the United States in the 50s. So he got a degree in engineering, went and worked it for 2.5 years, got married, had 2 kids, and realized he didn't like engineering. So he went back to college and got a degree in CPA, it's in accounting. He's a CPA, and he's still working to this day at 75 because he loves it. He loves it. You know, so if you don't have a degree or whatever, if you're feeling like going back to school, just do it. Just start walking towards it like we talked about in the goals. Start moving in that direction. Let your natural meet God's supernatural, and you'll find yourself doing things you never thought you could do. I'll tell you a story about my great-grandfather. His name was Pop Smith, Carl Franklin Smith. And we just had this service in the church that he built. He was 64 years old. He had done years and years of ministry already, 64 years old. And at 64, built the largest church in Columbus for mostly cash. Their church had a credit union. I didn't know that until today. The church had a credit union, and they saved up all this money. Now, guess when they did this? In 1963, while all the riots and things were going on in the country, and it was in complete upheaval, and they had a bond and a mesh with the Jewish community who helped them out. And they built a multicultural church in 1963 while all this craziness was going on. He was 64 years old and built this facility that took out a $1.5 million loan. Then a black man got a $1.5 million loan in 1963. That's phenomenal. The things you can do when God is on your side are phenomenal. His son, Uncle Jack, whose funeral we just did, he was 70 years old when he started really taking up his dream and doing what he really wanted to do. And because he got that wind in his sails, because he was doing what he really loved, he was a writer. And he started writing, producing books, over 100 books from 70 to 96 years old. 96, that's almost 100 years. He was born in 1920. That's like 4 years from now. He would have been 100. And he was still writing until he couldn't. So listen to me, young man. You can do whatever you put your mind to. If you have a purpose and you say, this is what I was put on the earth to do, to be a great man, I have visions, I have dreams, and I want to do amazing things, then you step forward in it and you get going and you do it with all your heart and your soul until you are no longer breathing. And I guarantee you, you not only will change yourself, you will change your wife or your family, you will change your kids, and they will learn from you, and the legacy of who you are being great will pass on through your kids and their kids and their kids. And that doesn't happen by accident. That happens on purpose, and I believe you can do it. I believe you need to step up and look at who you really want to be and take your gloves out and fight the fight of life, and don't stop until you are that guy, until you're that amazing parent, until you're that amazing husband, until you're that amazing business owner, until you are the amazing you. You can't be anybody else, and they can't be you. They don't have your fingerprints. You don't have theirs. There's one you. Be that guy extravagantly. That's what I decided to do. I'm 50 years old, and I'm just getting going. And if I had given up, you wouldn't be looking at my face all across your screen right now, listening to the things that have been given to me to share with you. All right? I believe in you. I'm your biggest fan. I want to see you prosper. I want to see you succeed. I want your kids to be extravagant and change the world around them. We can do this. That's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. This is episode number 7. 3 more to go until we get to the end. And then there's all kind of special things that are going to come after that. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for caring. Thank you for being a part of this. You're making it wonderful. It's all because of you. It gets to places I can never get to when you like and share. So don't forget to go look at YouTube. I laid them all out there. It's under Daryl, at Daryl, Darowick. And you can find a playlist of this Fatherhood series. All right. I appreciate you, and I thank you. Have an awesome time with your life.